You got a philosophy degree.
Who told you that? Fucking hell.
Your mom.
All right.
She's proud. Now,
She is proud, my mom.
what philosophers were you into?
I was really in stuff like Sartre when I was there, because that's kind of like the rock and roll philosophy, isn't it? That was the guy that like hung out getting drunk with students and like being a rebel. I was always into that, and I liked the idea, like the sort of existentialist idea of you're kind of free to define yourself and you know, find your own authentic way of life and identity. And
You still have books with you on tour?
I used to read a lot more than I do now. I just drink now. I don't read. I don't have any brain cells left to use. I bring a few, but I don't read anything like philosophy until really. Actually, after doing a degree in philosophy, the first thing I wanted to do was read stories. So I actually mostly read fiction, not non-fiction. So I do that, but you know what? I really don't read much on tour anymore. Last tour I read a bit more, but not loads. Last tour, I tell you what, on the last tour I read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, that 70s book, and I fell in love with that really badly. That was great. Then so far in this tour, we've been on tour for 3 weeks, and I've read one book.
And that was a graphic novel.
Yeah, and it had loads of pictures. It was called The Hungry Caterpillar, yeah. I used to use my brain a lot more when I was younger. I've broken it now. I've got rock damage.
But you do write also. It's, what's it called? Drown in Sound.
Oh yeah, sometimes people ask me to write. I quite like writing. And sometimes they ask us, instead of to do like interviews or things like that, they ask if we want to write an article for something online. And I always kind of like that, because it's a different way of, you know, it's connected to our band. It's like, much like anything like this interview or anything else, I always think of all the promotional side of your band. What you're doing is kind of contextualizing your band and giving something outside of the records around it. And it's one way of writing about stuff where you're not actually talking about yourself, which is really appealing to me, because most interviews you're just talking about your fucking self all the time. So for Drowning, I've done it a few times. You get to write on a topic. I had it before with something else they asked me to write about. Yeah, it's fun. I liked it. It's fun. You get to talk about something else. You know?
Do you get reactions? Because I read a bit, and you were like, "Oh fuck, Franz Ferdinand, they're boring," and stuff like that.
I get abuse on the internet, but everyone does.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take that seriously. In fact, I probably would think I've failed if I didn't get some abuse.
Right.
I mean, you haven't said anything interesting if someone's not there saying "fuck you." Have you?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the internet, Pum Pum, your debut album, it was online half a year before you released it, probably.
Yeah, there was two reasons. That firstly, because the record company we were signed to got bought out by a major label that we didn't want to be on, and then that label delayed it, so that fucked up a bit. But also, yeah, it just got leaked. And actually, I really don't care if people pay for our records or download them free. I really don't care. I like the idea that they'll have the artwork with it, but I don't. The idea of like financially about people paying or not paying for music, for me, like that hasn't ever been a problem. I don't care. But what I do care is everybody got the record before it was out on the day, and I felt like I like that there's a build up and then a release, you know, like creative, especially for our first record as well. We were waiting to unleash it. We were touring the week it came out, and we could sort of celebrate and be like, here's our first album. Yeah. And you know, 4 months before that, people are coming to shows going, I really like your new album, and we're like, fuck, how come you know, it's like you've ruined Christmas, man. Like, I like, you know, it's good. It's like the anticipation is an important part of it, I think. So that's a shame when it leaks before, but people are downloading it free. It's never bothered me at all.
You've recorded your first 3 in Liverpool?
No, first one was in Wales, actually. The next 2 were in Liverpool.
Oh, I see.
But it was the same producer, yeah.
And then you changed that radically.
Yeah, we did.
You went to Berlin. Why that? Because it's the most.
We wanted to change it radically.
Oh, I see.
And Berlin was always somewhere we thought was super fucking cool, and it's also like practically, it's really easy to go to Berlin and find space to do music where no one's going to complain. I mean, you try and do that in Paris, and we talked about going to Paris too, but everyone's, like, the buildings are, you know, smaller and more expensive, and the neighbours can hear you and they'll get pissed off. And in Berlin, you can go to Kreuzberg, and what we did, we got like a big empty concrete room. No one can hear anything, man, because the walls are like it's thick or something. So you can do what you want, and no one really cares. And Berlin's like the kind of place where it's a very free city, isn't it? Like, It's very permissive. No one really complains. Everyone's trying to do something kind of creative and interesting. So it's kind of the place to be if you want to do something like that. So we wanted to get the hell out of England. We wanted to write it in a different country. We wanted to record it in a different country. We wanted to take the risk of doing it ourselves and see what happens if no one is there to protect us. No one's helping you. Like I see it, like when you take the stabilizers off your bike. It's like, okay, am I going to fall off? Are we going to fuck this up? But that's kind of more of a thrill, isn't it? When you first ride a bike without someone helping you.
Exactly.
And that's what we wanted. We wanted the risk. We wanted the factor of like, this could go wrong. You know.
Have you learned yourself into the musical history of Berlin? Let's say Bowie and Lou Reed and
yeah,
all
I mean,
that.
we know. I mean, everybody knows those, right? Iggy Pop. I mean, I'm a big Stooges fan, and it's the Iggy Pop thing. There's little references on the record. In fact, one of the songs, there's a drum pattern that's an intentional reference to Lust for Life, actually.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pretend that I've got like some, you know, in sort of Wikipedia knowledge of the history of rock and roll records made in Berlin, but that was part of what appealed to us, and probably every other fucking band that's gone there is, you know, you like feeling like you're part of this history of people going there to be inspired and create something. So that was definitely, for us, that was, yeah, we thought that was pretty cool, you know.
And living in the city, what would you say?
I loved it. I didn't want to leave. I want to go back there now. Well, no, I want to be on tour, but at the end of tour, I would love to live in Berlin. I completely fell in love with the city. I honestly think it's the freest place on earth.
Wow.
It was like someone just told the government and the police to all go home, and everyone just does what they want. Except people aren't, like, evil. Like, it's like someone did an experiment and said, okay, if we just, like, let go of controls and let people just do what they want, let's see if they abuse it or if they act, like, really decently to each other. From what I've seen, people were just really decent to each other in a way that I don't think you could do that in England. Like, if you said to people in England, you can drink on the street, you can go to bars till 5 a.m, you can do what you want, everyone would be beating the shit out of each other, they'd be sick all over the streets. In Germany, in Berlin, people don't abuse it, they don't act like dicks. They can do what they want, so they don't need to act like dicks. It's like, I don't know any other place that feels quite like that, and I would love to live there.
That's great to hear. I mean, just look at Mankind. I mean, it's not 100 years ago that, you know, Hitler was like the boss there in Berlin.
I know. It's like, I think there's probably something in that, and something in the city being divided in half for ages and then coming back together. There's something strange has happened there for it to be like that, and it's a really cool thing. It sort of actually gives you faith in people and thinking, people aren't always shit, you know?
So it's like New York of Europe, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, New York's got a very different flavour, but I like New York a lot as well. But yeah, New York has that thing of there's lots of possibilities and there's a lot of people going there to do different things, and I like that. It's got that vibrance. Is vibrancy? Vibrantness? I don't even know what that word is. It's as vibrant as New York, but in a very European way, in a different way. Much less aggressive way than New York as well. Like, you don't have to say fuck you to everyone just to get things done like you do in New York.
But there are elections coming for the European Parliament. But do you care about that at all?
I actually haven't been able to vote because I've been on tour for probably 5 years. The last time I voted in England, when I was around, must have been the last general elections, and I'm lucky because when I am home I live in Brighton, and Brighton is like the centre of like the hippie alternative universe in the UK, and it's the only place in the UK that a Green MP got voted in, and I voted Green, and you can actually do that in Brighton, and your vote actually means something. But I don't think I'll be around to vote for anything else.
Well, I wanted to talk about it's said that this election, the far right all over Europe would gain.
Yeah, people are saying that a lot. It's pretty scary. There's a lot of TV debates at the moment in England with this guy, Farage, who, from what I can tell, is he's either incredibly nasty or incredibly stupid. I can't really tell which, or maybe both. But yeah, it's great. He's getting a lot of coverage, and he's being taken very seriously. That's the scary thing, is people like that. He's kind of like the posh face of something. On the other hand, you have like BNP and EDL, which is the much more grassroots kind of the ill thought out version. But he's kind of made presentable the far right ideas, and personally, it scares the shit out of me.
But you did support campaigns against racism, fascism. You did that in the past.
We have in the past, yeah. There was a time where there was a while ago now, but there was a really horrible campaign targeting school kids. This is so dark, right? About 6 or 7 years ago, and I think it was the BNP, not the EDL. The EDL is the really dumb one, the English Defence League, which comes down to like guys with beer saying "fuck off back to your own country." It's like they're really simple people. The BNP were making CDs of basically neo-Nazi bands, making it seem like it was really cool to kids, and giving the compilations out in schools. So then there's this campaign, Love Music, Hate Racism, which were like, well, we need to fight back and show everyone that all of the coolest bands hate that idea. So they got, obviously, loads of bands were up for it. And they had way better bands on their compilation. So they did the same thing to fight back and put it in schools. I remember doing a thing for that. Because that was, really frightening. Yeah. They're pretty weird people, those guys.
Yeah. Well, two more things. Do you know a guy called Stephen Ansell in Boston?
Is he a violin player?
Yeah.
I don't, but I know because he comes up on Google if you put your name in. No, I've been I have Googled myself.
Never wanted to contact him, like, hey, we're playing this and there.
Yeah, because he's a musician. I have thought about that. I was like, maybe we should get him to play on a record or something for a laugh. Yeah. 2 Stephen Ansells, yeah. He'd probably hate our band though. He'd probably be like, he's probably like a trained musician that can read music. He'd probably think we just make a load of noise.
Well, he might still be a nice person.
That's true.
Yeah, that was that. And then I wanted to ask if you know a band called White Miles.
White Miles? Mm-hmm. Don't think so.
They're going on UK tour now with Courtney Love.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
why? What about them? Are they good? Are they bad? Should I like them?
They play similar to you guys.
Okay. Are they from the States?
No, they're from Austria, actually.
Oh, right. Oh, that's cool. Mm. That's really cool. Courtney Love's taking an Austrian band on tour. That's really cool.
Yep.
Because, like, in England, really, the majority of music you hear is from English-speaking countries. It's all America, UK, Australia.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're, like, a dance DJ, you can be, like, Dutch. But you hear very little music from any European countries, certainly. So any bands that are getting some attention like that from another country, that's fucking cool, you know?
Well, people learned English, you know?
Yeah. But it is crazy. Like, there's bands... Actually, in America, I found they're actually more... interested in European bands than in England. England's got some sort of problem with like bands that aren't from an English-speaking country, or the industry does. People don't, but they never get noticed. I don't know why that is. It's really strange.
Yeah, if you find time, go check them out.
Yeah,
the drummer is really good.
Cool.
I mean,
White Miles.
Yeah.
Cool. I will. Laura's a huge Courtney Love fan anyway, so she'd probably want to go see one of the shows if we're around.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, you guys met in a donut shop. It's been said. Mm-hmm. Is there some kind of ritual still that you go? I don't know. At the end of a tour, you go to a donut shop or find a donut shop in Berlin when the record's done.
We did eat a lot of donuts in Berlin, but we don't have a ritual with them. No, we don't have many rituals actually as a band. We did eat a lot of donuts. I haven't eaten a single donut on this tour though. Maybe I should save it till we get to Berlin. It's about a week away now.
Oh, you could ask the fans. We put it up on YouTube, so the next stop on the tour, fans will bring you donuts.
Throw them onto the stage and they'll get covered in like jam and stuff, won't they?
That's true.
Hi, I'm Steven from Blood Red Shoes. You're watching MULATSCHAG, the only TV that you need. MULATSCHAG!